Hi, so it is the first full day of the conference and I am so tired. There's a lot that happened today, a lot of really good stuff, a lot of really intense discussions. It was a good day. I think it set a good tone for the rest of the festival. The opening plenary this morning led by Andrea Asaf and Gail Issa. It was great. Andrea and Gail are awesome moderators. They had us do exercises where they kind of mapped the audience. They asked us to get in line from like when we first joined Asian American or got involved in Asian American theater, and it was very moving. People shared their experiences. People got emotional thinking about the past and how much struggle they have overcome to be here. Also at the opening plenary, Andrea and Gail had broken us up into groups by discipline. So I was with the directors and we had some really kind of lively discussion about directors and getting young directors trained. If they are they getting trained? Are they given systematic opportunities to continue directing and develop their directing skills? So I went to both of John Rivera's directing sessions. The one before lunch was more workshop oriented. That was really enlightening to see how another director worked and what was important to him. And the second part of his workshop was much more discussion based, and we talked about the new directions that directing is going in. Something that I thought was interesting was at the beginning of John's session, he had said directing is an instinctive thing, something that people have. Lucy Burns questioned him around his thought about how that directing can't be taught because we're here in a workshop and he's teaching us. And he had said in response that, you know, he's been directing for 20 years and he feels like he's gotten good and he's only been a good director for 10 years. That's something that I think that I would rather hear. You know, why am I here if directing can't be taught? Why are you here if directing can't be taught? I want to hear that, you know, directing is taught in different ways, or you learn directing in different ways. Directing is more applied, you have to do it, and that, you know, you learn the best by doing, which applies to a lot of things. There was a little bit of generational tension in the room. I was asking what opportunities are there to train directors, are there training programs, how does a young director move forward in their work, and how can we be supported in continuing to develop our craft and develop our work. And I got, you know, so much of the answers that I got were, you just have to do it yourself. That's what we had to do. We had to just make our opportunities ourselves. And I know. I was gonna say, I know. I make my opportunities myself as well. I feel like I have been working as a young person to really try and get my voice out there, and I feel like many of the young emerging directors or artists here are doing that too. That's why they're here, right? I think some of the response that I got was that this generation, this new generation, is a generation of young people who feel entitled. You know, you think that we're entitled, but why does it have to be hard for us like it was hard for you? Do you want this next generation? Do you want my generation? Do you want my children to struggle just as hard as the past generations did? And if we continue to struggle in the same way, where do we go? Why are we still thinking this way? This is still a mindset of scarcity as opposed to a mindset of abundance. We're still thinking like there is no money, there will never be any money, you have to struggle because this is just the way the industry is. This mindset of it was hard, it is hard, it will always be hard. It doesn't have to be that way. Maybe it will still be hard for a very long time, but it doesn't have to be that way, and we don't need to work toward perpetuating it to be that way. We should imagine an easier world for ourselves, because if we don't even imagine an easier world for ourselves, for our children, then how can we even make that happen? And then the last session that I went to was the Directors on Directing session with Rick Shomi from Moo, I don't know her last name, Kathy from Sis Productions, and Sima from Molelo. And that, you know, brought all hope back to my spirit, because there were artistic directors from small theater companies who are incredibly engaged with the community and incredibly dedicated to finding new talent, training, and nurturing new talent. And it was just really wonderful to hear what their companies were about. And Kathy had said some amazing things about her theater company actively searching for potential new talent and giving the opportunity to succeed and fail in a safe space. And that was one of my questions earlier about, do emerging directors have safe spaces to work on their craft. They also talked about what they're looking for in hiring young directors, which I think was very useful to me. So this last session was really useful, really positive, and it was a great way to end the day. And I just had some delicious Filipino food. The weather is great. I'm totally stuffed and exhausted and ready to get some rest before tomorrow's last day of the National Asian American Theater Conference. Thanks.